This is the Dan Lebatar Show with the Stugotz podcast.
This is going to be weird. Izzy Gutierrez here. I mean, the music I don't know. It's
legendary Earth, Wind, and Fire. Shame on you.
No. I know who it was. I don't know if it has anything to do with why this is going to be weird. This is going to be weird because Sarah's not here. The shipping container is here, minus Billy. And Sarah, you're in Chicago.
I am.
And yet, we're still on ESPNU, but you are not.
I did not realize you would be on television today.
Yeah. I didn't realize it until yesterday when Mike told me. And when you told me you weren't going to be here, I was like, well, this is going to be an awkward situation. I'm going to be speaking to a ghost.
I hope they're using a super sexual shot of me as the still shot of whenever I talk.
They're using your cartoon placard that we have on the wall.
Perfect.
Even better. How are things, Sarah?
Living the dream, man.
That's it. Just living the dream as always.
Living the dream as always. I mean, I didn't spend all week hosting with Stu, so I'm not living as much of the dream as you are.
No, that was fantastic. That was and I'm doing it again on Monday, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Did you hear any of it?
I heard all of it.
Did you think that Stugotz and I vibed okay?
I thought that you were as quiet as you've ever been, just letting it all wash over you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people here. I don't have to do all the talking.
That's true. The conversations that you two have launched me into two investigations. One is that I'm fairly certain that Dan and Pablo are vacationing together near the Baltic Sea due to some social media detective work. And two, I'm going to need to know a lot more about your Fruity Pebbles onesie because your story had a lot of holes and nobody dug. They just let it lit. They just let it lie, and there were a lot of holes.
Let's do that right now. For those who weren't listening, I was talking to Stugotz about sort of running into fans in public and whether he's ever been rude to them or in a bad situation or in an awkward situation, maybe hungover, maybe drunk. And I was recalling a time this past weekend where I went down to the valet at a hotel I was at, and I was wearing a Fruity Pebble onesie. And what are your questions about this one?
Okay, first of all, it was apparent that you were lying when you said you did not want to be seen, because we all know that after you announced that the onesie was half unbuttoned and you were essentially shirtless with only the bottom half covering you, we all know that that's when you would most like to be seen.
Oh, well, seen and recognized are two different things. I wouldn't mind being seen as long as they had no idea who I was.
Okay. Still don't buy that.
Okay.
2, did I say A or B? Either way, 3.
Roman numeral 3.
Yes. I would like to know why you said that you were taking stuff to your car and you just decided to put it on. Why wouldn't you just throw it in a bag or over your shoulder or in a box or in a suitcase? Why would you need to put the outfit on to go down to the car?
Well, see, that's right. That's a hole. Thank you for asking that question. I did not fill in this information properly. I intended to wear it to the pool area where my friends were hanging out with and I know you know this, I don't know how many people know, a marshmallow mask on my head, and that's a DJ.
Yes, I've seen a photo of you with the marshmallow head on before.
Yes. And
because of some musician, right? There's a marshmallow head musician that you follow that I'm not cool enough to like because he does like EDM and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's perfect description.
Okay.
And so that was the plan, but then I had to get all this stuff down to the car. Now, I was holding the mellow mask, not really wearing it when I got downstairs, and put everything in the car really quickly. And the words that I did not ever want to hear going down there was, "You look familiar," because that's just code for, hey, I know who you are. I'm just trying to be a little kind of cool about it and not really say, hey, that's Izzy Gutierrez. And so,
more questions.
Yes.
Why would you wear a Fruity Pebbles onesie to the pool?
Again, it was just as a joke to the group that I was with, and the mellow helmet on top of that. I could have chosen my Smells Like Teen Kitty adult onesie, which is a floating cat chasing a dollar, like the cover of the Nirvana album.
Would it be uncouth for me to ask if wearing adult onesies is a gay thing?
It would not be uncouth. It would not be correct. It's not. It's just
It's
again,
an Izzy thing.
One of my friends, a girl named Maddie, she's into the onesie thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a few onesies, and I'm going to join you in that. And I might wear a onesie at Lollapalooza later in your city. Later
Oh, you don't want to do
summer.
that, honey. That's going to be some swamp butt. You're going to want to wear much less clothing than that.
I'll be staying nearby. I can just go change real quick.
Right, and I guess you can always unzip it and be shirtless, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
But still, if there's any fleece happening on the inside of that, you're not going to be in a good place.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, maybe I
All
can
right,
just
so
kind of fold it down.
My other questions are, was this a private pool area?
It was the W Hotel.
Okay, so if you were worried about being recognized at the valet, but your plan was to wear that full outfit to the pool, don't you think you'd also be recognized at the pool, especially once they saw your glistening abs?
No, because I'd already been to the pool for a while now. It had been a few hours. So I had known the people around me and was comfortable showing up in that and not worrying about them. Any further
Okay,
questions?
despite all your answers, I'm left in the same place, was that you were desperately hoping to be recognized shirtless in a Fruity Pebbles onesie carrying a marshmallow head.
Which is why if I ever got in trouble for anything in a court of law, I would never call you as a character witness for me because you've got me all wrong.
All right, well, the last question I need is that I need you, it's not a question, it's a demand. I'm going to need you to send a photo of the Fruity Pebbles onesie with you in it on Twitter, please.
I will
need some
tweet
visuals.
it. Can I do it with the mask on, even though you can't prove it's me?
Yes.
Because I do have that photo.
Yes, I will
Everyone knows
happily,
what your abs look like.
I will
in the-
happily-
No.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no abs in
You
this
don't have
picture.
it- you don't
no
have it
abs in this
zippered
picture.
down?
Zipped all the way up.
Will
Zipped all the
fans
way
of
up.
Marshmallow Head be sad to see that he's lying across train tracks?
Wow, I should totally do that.
Or drowning in a pool.
I should do
wearing
like
a shirt.
a sexy photo shoot with the marshmallow helmet on. That would
If
be
anyone
pretty
doesn't know what we're talking about, which I would assume that they would, but search Izzy Gutierrez on Google Images, and you'll get him lying across a train tracks and inexplicably swimming with a shirt on.
I was so tired in both
leaning
of those
seductively against a
situations.
wall. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just tired all the time, right? Like, I'm too tired to take the shirt off.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
it's
I lay
tiring.
down on the train tracks, and I'm leaning against the wall. No big deal.
Yeah. All right, well, feel free to go ahead and post that photo. I would like to imagine this situation that you're lying about.
I mean, I could one-up that. Like, I could wear it on Monday when I come in.
Ooh. I think that's a preferred choice.
I think I might go with
Will Stugotz
kitty
be
one.
Feinbaum by Monday, or is he going to wait for Dan's return?
No, he's got to wait for Dan. I mean, come on.
Because that would be a good combo right there.
Maybe I can bring him a onesie and he can wear it too.
I would like to see Stugotz in a onesie because he is already child size. Fun size, I should say. Like a baby Snickers.
A baby Snickers. Anyway, maybe I'll bring in some popcorn. It'll be like a sleepover. So, Sarah, you've been watching the finals, I take it?
I have.
Entertained? I know, obviously, Game 3 was pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, I was entertained by Game 3. What I loved about it was watching the shifting waves of opinion on Twitter where people were like, bring out the brooms. And then they were like, oh, put your brooms away. This one's all over for the Cavs. And I'm watching like, why do people think that the Warriors are out of this? There is plenty of time for them to put the foot on the gas. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I actually didn't think that the Cavs were going to win at any point in that game. That's how much I fear the Warriors' ability at any moment to take things over.
Yeah, I was watching on DVR. That's what night was it? Wednesday night. And yeah, I was tempted to just fast forward because I was like, the Cavs are pulling away. I was like, no, this is when the Warriors are most entertaining. Is when they're behind, especially on the road, but when they're behind and when you know that they're going to take a ton of probably difficult shots, but those guys are going to have a good chance of making those. And man, like that was perfect Warriors. That's the Warriors I've been missing all year long because it normally looks too easy for them. But that was great.
And the point of not fast forwarding, particularly in these games, is that we have a tendency after the fact to try to look at the box score to tell us the story of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that here because you would look at the numbers from LeBron and Kyrie and be like, oh, those guys did everything they could. You know, they got let down by their teammates again, which is true in part. You know, you still need to see Tristan Thompson not get out-rebounded by Steph Curry in the series. You still need Kyle Korver to hit shots. You still need J.R. Smith to show up. But if you're just looking at the box score and you feel as though LeBron and Kyrie were as good as you can be, you got to look at the end. LeBron had 39, Kyrie had 38, but neither of them scored down the stretch. Cleveland was 0 for 8 in the last 245, outscored 11-0 down the stretch. They got tired and they made bad choices. The things that were working for Kyrie Irving early, he went away from late, and he started doing that thing where he dribbles around and throws up street ball style shots when he was efficient and effective when he just made a choice to either take the shot or go to the bucket and not dilly-dally around. And if you look at the box score and try to tell the game story from that, you miss the shift where the Warriors pounced when they realized that there was fatigue and there was tension occurring on the part of the Cavs. And that was it. That was the game right there, because it was as close as can be throughout. And it looked like at the end the Cavs were going to pull away. And then they either got tired or they got soft. But you have to watch it progress to get that out of it.
Yeah, that's why I don't like people harping on the Cavs were minus 12 and LeBron was sitting, because he was on the floor down the stretch. But there's a lot we're going to dissect, and obviously with these finals, Game 4 tonight, and we're going to dissect some LeBron sound in a little bit. We'll talk to Tim Kirkjian at 11 o'clock, Kevin Arnovitz at 11:30 this morning. A lot to get to there with the finals.
Dan Le Batard.
Texter writes in, my sister with a very confused question just asked, how do you even like these guys on the radio? They don't even talk about anything. To which I responded, that's the point.
Stugotz.
That guy gets the show.
Yes.
That guy's sister needs to be disowned, sent out of the family.
You get the show.
You get the show.
You get the show.
Yes.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Couple things, Sarah. First thing, whatever I called that onesie before was wrong. It's the Cat Cobain onesie.
Okay.
So much safer.
Okay,
and
yes.
I just realized, as I saw my reflection here, that I don't know if you heard the last couple of shows. I believe it was the last one we were discussing whether you would want your pinky or your thumb if you had to cut one off.
Right. Obviously, you'd want your thumb.
So you would get rid of the pinky, right? I just realized I'm wearing a shirt that does that little, what is that, surfer thing called? What's that called, guy?
Shaka bra.
Shaka bra.
The shaka bra.
So it's a nod to...
You saw last night, man, the Penguins almost literally hung 10 on the bread.
I forgot he was a hockey fan. That's right.
I've just looked up
we might have to turn to you later when our PK Subban conversation comes up.
I've looked up the Cat Cobain onesie. That is, I prefer that to the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
I like that.
Fruity Pebbles makes me think of Fruity Pebbles, so I like that one better.
Okay. We just came out with that Wicked Game song. I'm sure you heard that there was an unfortunate turn of events in which I learned that both Stugotz and I liked that song for Sexy Time, which ruined it for me forever. But also unfortunate is, inexplicably, the first thing that comes up on YouTube if you search my name is our discussion about that. And my dad, inexplicably, was bored during a closing. He does real estate law. And decided to YouTube my name. Again, I have no idea why. This is a terrible idea and not something that he should do in any circumstances. Just Googling or searching it anyway. But the first thing that comes up is Gutierrez and Sarah Spain have the same favorite sex song.
Man.
And so my dad proceeded to watch us talk about songs we like to bone to.
That's the first thing that comes up, Sarah? You've done so much.
Yep. That's it's unfortunate. There's a lot of other weird stuff that comes up that is super weird. But that really takes the cake for things that my dad didn't need to spend 5 minutes listening to.
The power of Stugotz right there.
It's my problem with when I forget that I'm on the radio and people can actually hear me.
Yeah, you should probably remember that. You're on the radio a lot, Sarah. You should recognize when you're on.
I know, but it's more fun if I just pretend I'm just talking to you and that there's no consequences.
And
Sarah took it over. All of a sudden, it's now become a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Why? Because they so suspect.
So what's the question?
So what I'm saying to you is this. This year, what happened was, I'm not talking about the underlings competing against one another. I'm talking about the absence of competition until the finals. I'm saying to you that...
Hold time now. Wait, hold. Because I have other points to make, too. Hold on a second.
Really? What's your cue there? Because... if it were me,
hold on. The Sixers had been to...
It's got to be the shape of his mouth.
I would look at Max's face every time. And if Max has that kind of confused, like, what's happening face, I'd go right to first take. And that's exactly what he had when that cut-in started. So, Sarah, as we shift over to finals talk, LeBron had his off-day media session yesterday, and had a few things to say. Brian Windhorst wrote something on ESPN.com basically dissecting the things that he had to say and sort of translating a little bit. One of the questions that came up, and this, to me, I think came up because you look at LeBron and, you know, he was asked about twice now, essentially facing a team in the midst of their dynasty attempt, first with the Spurs back in 2007, and now with the Warriors for 3 years in a row, and then sort of transitioned to Kevin Durant and whether him being with the Warriors is fair. And here's what he had to say about that.
Is it fair? I don't care. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, it's great for our league. I mean, right now, look at our TV ratings. Look at the money our league is pouring in. I mean, guys are loving the game. Our fans love the game. I mean, who am I to say if it's fair or not? I mean, no matter who am I going against, if I'm going against 4 Hall of Famers, like I said before the series started with Draymond, Clay, Steph, and KD, or if I'm going against 2 or whatever the case may be, I'm always excited to play the game, and I'm not one to judge or say if it's fair or not if guys are adding, you know, players to their team. So, I mean, that's what you want to do. I mean, is it fair that the New York Yankees in the 90s was adding piece after piece after piece after piece? I mean, if you have the opportunity to do that, is it fair that the Cowboys added Deion Sanders? I mean, listen, I mean, it happens. It's sports. You know, you can have an opportunity to sign one of the best players, and you can do it, go ahead and do it. Why not? If I become an owner, I'm going to try to sign everybody.
I love how it says voice of LeBron James, Cav Ford, and GM on the screen there. Sarah, yesterday I was saying that he did this to himself because he's the one who kind of started that trend.
Right.
What do you think about what he said there?
I think he handled it really well. You're right. He essentially helped change the power structure in the NBA and allow for players to have much more agency over their own futures. And so it would be difficult for him, even though the situation is very different. And he points it out at a different point that, you know, Durant's going to a fully formed team that was a championship team and then one block away from being a championship team again, whereas he went to Miami and they had stripped the roster down to one player, so he created a team around him and then went to the Cavs, and it wasn't quite as extreme, but it was very similar where he created a team around him. So I think he handles it really well in terms of not being able to give people the opportunity to think he's taking cheap shots at Durant, but he still is honest about how he sees the situation differently. And you're right, he can't complain because this is the Dr. Frankenstein. This is the monster coming back to kill him.
Well, here's where he tries to separate that, though. Here's where he talks about whether his career is anything like Durant's, given that they both made mega free agent moves.
I don't think that our careers are the same as far as changing teams. You know, their team was already kind of put together, and you just implement a guy that's ready to sacrifice, a great talent, a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team win. But that team, they knew what they were about, and he just had to come in and just do what he had to do, and that's what he's been doing. For me, when I left here to go to Miami, we had to build something. You know, we brought in, 8 or 9 guys, and we had to build something. And when I came back here, we built something again. But I can definitely appreciate the simple fact of him either reshaping his game or just sacrificing maybe some shots here, sacrificing having the ball in his hands, all the time. Who wouldn't want to sacrifice playing on a Golden State team or a San Antonio team or a Cleveland team when you know the ultimate result can actually compete for a championship?
You know what, Sarah? We're going to have to play that again because there's a lot to dig into there, and a lot of it is just digging at Kevin Durant. Is it not?
And I have some commentary about the things that he's been dropping in throughout his commentary that I think is unnecessary and that the media would fill in for him, but when he says it, it doesn't make him look good.
Hey, buddy, the wait is over.
We've got Joe Harper in here. He's a polygraph specialist.
He's very intimidating. He's a nice man, but physically he's very intimidating, and he has a bullet in his neck.
The man, the myth, the legend, Joe Harper, makes his return June 21st for the second installment of Stu Lies.
Are your apologies to Dan sincere after you make fun of his fat face?
Yes.
That'll be a no.
Oh, man.
He said Stugotz is the worst liar since O.J. Simpson.
If the Heat and the Knicks played in the Eastern Conference Finals, would you root for the Heat?
Or nerd.
Yes.
Liar.
Let's go Knicks.
Stugotz, Joe Harper, collision course.
Were you really the big man on campus in college, as you have claimed?
Yes.
Oh, I think that's the truth.
No, it's not.
Oh! June 21st. You won't want to miss this, buddy.
Dan Le Batard.
Many texters writing in here, Dan, you're not a Beatle, you're Meatloaf. Is that what I would be? What would I be if I were a band?
Stugotz.
There's a band called Cake.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get instant gold status at Shell. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold. And now your SportsCenter update. The Penguins took Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final away from the Predators by the score 6-0. Game 6 is Sunday in Nashville. Tonight it's Game 4 of the NBA Finals.
Nice.
Between the Warriors and the Cavaliers at 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC. We'll have to figure out why that has to be different. And finally, Phil Collins recently kicked off his Not Dead Yet tour, his first such outing in nearly 10 years. Now, however, the tour has been postponed after Collins injured himself in a fall. According to a statement, Collins suffers from drop foot as a result of a back operation, which makes it difficult to walk. He rose in the middle of the night to go to the toilet and slipped in his hotel room, hitting his head on a chair. He was taken to a hospital where he had stitches for a severe gash on his head close to his eye. Collins is said to be recovering well, but will be kept under observation for 24 hours. As a result, he's postponed 2 upcoming shows in London, which have been rescheduled for late November. The tour is set to resume Sunday in Cologne, Germany.
Now I feel bad that I was about to tell you that I don't really like Phil Collins.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune into SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. It's just sad to think he needed like a medical alert type of thing that's perfect.
Yeah,
for
I've
that
fallen
commercial.
and I can't get up.
Yeah, and it's Phil Collins.
Yeah. I do like In the Air Tonight, obviously, but you can pretty much take anything else. Susu Studio, hate it.
What? How could you hate that?
It's a terrible song.
All right. Once again, you're not going to be a character witness for me. So wait, there was something about the LeBron discussing, or me talking about the idea of LeBron facing these dynasties that you didn't like, or you didn't like what LeBron had to say about it?
Yeah, so in that Windhorse column where he's sort of like not live, but he reacts to all of what LeBron said and says, here's some background on this. Somebody asked him, 10 years ago you began your finals run against a team that was in the midst of a dynasty. Now you're up against a team that looks like it's built to last, blah, blah, blah. And LeBron said, well, I think it's just part of my calling to go against teams in the midst of a dynasty. To me, that's once again him trying to lay out how his circumstances are so difficult. Meanwhile, at one point when he was going to Miami and he was not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, he was creating and thought he was building what was to be the kind of dynasty that every other team would look at and say, we can't get through this. Or if you look at the Eastern Conference, people would say, with LeBron in the East, there are guys that are going to feel like the Patrick Ewings of the Bulls era, right? Where you never were going to get past that Jordan team. Same with LeBron. So for him to sort of spin that as his calling is to be going up against teams that are mid-dynasty, that's...
it's peak LeBron. It's classic LeBron.
It feeds into what Stephen A. has been talking about, which is this idea of, we don't need you to tell us you're averaging triple doubles in the final. Like, we all know you're killing it. It then just becomes either A, I'm patting myself on the back for how well I'm doing, even though my team is losing, or A, I'm setting up the case for the offseason where I can complain about how I don't have any help, and it's clearly not my fault that I'm losing.
That's good. You know what? We'll get back to him digging on Kevin Durant a little bit later. But so Stephen A., I haven't heard this sound yet, but apparently, as you said, Stephen A. said that he can't be the greatest of all time if these things happen to him. We have that sound right here. In a second.
I do not want to hear another single damn word about being the GOAT, the greatest of all time. You do not get swept twice in the NBA Finals in your career. I don't care who it's against. Even AI got you one against the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe and the crew. You do not have an NBA Finals record of winning less than 40% of your games, and you are considered the best ever. Stop. That's all I'm asking. One of the greatest, yes. The greatest, that conversation officially ceases to exist.
So he not only said, hey, we don't need you to tell me about your stats, He said, if you get swept in the finals twice, you're officially not in the conversation for the GOAT.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, anything I say is biased because of my Jordan obsession and because I fully admit to being a prisoner of nostalgia in that you can't recreate what it felt like for me during the Jordan era now. I'm a different person. I'm in a different place. I'm now trying to analyze versus just take it in as a fan. And I was young, and it was, this it overwhelmed my city. But I do think that there's so many different ways that we try to compare these two. And it is unfair to say, oh, well, LeBron loses in the finals and Michael never did, except to say that Michael never lost in the finals, never, when he hit his peak.
About you confronting greatness and doing damage against it. Now, Kevin Durant may have hurt himself because, again, the road to prosperity, the road was paved easier because he took the road.
It's a fact.
Listen, he took the road less traveled. But the flip side is LeBron James' greatness in this finals has helped cement the greatness of Kevin Durant because as great as LeBron James has been, it hasn't been better than Kevin Durant.
Yes, it has.
And that's what the
it has been.
No, it has not.
Ooh, there's a lot there.
Yes.
Did he say Durant took the road less traveled?
Yeah, because nobody's done it.
Well,
nobody's done the...
Sort of missing the intent there. Right. Also, I think that Durant has been better than LeBron.
You think he's been better this series?
Yep.
Why? I mean, LeBron's doing everything for his team. KD's got some benefit of having these teammates that are drawing people's eyes.
Agreed. KD's team is better, and so there can be more of a balanced effort. But you need look no farther than the fourth quarters where KD is outscoring LeBron 33-11, I think, in the fourth quarters of games. You look at the end of that tight game, which team finished, and it was the Warriors. LeBron had an opportunity with Draymond with 4 fouls, forcing him to drive with Kevin Durant waiting in the lane for him and to prove one-on-one, mano-a-mano in a position where he usually succeeds, which is taking the ball to the hole. And instead, he went around and then eventually passed the ball. Meanwhile, next play, Kevin Durant strolls up and hits a dead 3 right over him. Listen, these are very specific instances and like little occurrences. But if you're trying to build a case for which one's better, of course LeBron is shouldering more, and his doesn't just come down to scoring. He has to do, But what Kevin Durant has done defensively to slow him down offensively, and then what he's taxed him with on the offensive side in terms of LeBron tiring himself out trying to play defense, I think he's been better in this series. Now, of course, he's on the winning team. That's easy to say.
I was thinking about what you got cut off, right? Like what you were saying before we went to First Take, and I realized how weird it must be for you, way more than me, because all of a sudden you're talking and you just hear Steve.
That was like Inception, because she was talking about a Stephen A. point, and Stephen A. interrupted the point. By the way, to Stephen A.'s point, I don't know how much this matters. Granted, it was a 5-game series back then, but Michael Jordan got swept 2 times in the first round by great teams, the Boston Celtics. But so you can't get swept in the finals twice and be GOAT, but you can get swept twice in the first round and be GOAT.
Or just not make the finals. That's worse than getting swept in the finals.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say, is that there is a sort of silliness to the argument of, well, LeBron's lost in the finals and Jordan never did, but LeBron's been to the finals more. Except the only thing I would say is that when Michael Jordan was at his peak, he went to the finals every year, other than when there was that baseball hiccup in the middle, and he won every time. So if you're not allowing a ramp up at all, which we allowed with LeBron as well, we allowed him to ease his way into becoming the dominant player that he is, where he's going to the finals every year. We're really digging deep to find ways to criticize LeBron in that case, but I do think it's worth pointing out that it would be hard for me to imagine Michael Jordan-led team getting swept in the finals. Once, twice, at all. Again, prisoner of nostalgia, though.
It is America's favorite pastime, is nitpicking and being critical of LeBron James.
Right. Well, sometimes he makes it easy.
Right. Mostly in Miami. We should note, by the way, I'm not the only Melo fan here in the booth. Paul Feinbaum is now sporting a marshmallow hat. So.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I like how you set it up so it looks like I'm Feinbaum talking, which is great. I've never looked better.
Fantastic. And the hat looks great on you.
Dan Le Batard.
Say what again, mother bleeper? Say what again?
Stugotz.
Say what again? I dare you. Say what?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I hate you, Mike.
Turn that up.
This is Inarguably a terrible song.
Nope.
What does it even mean? What's Susasudia?
Nobody knows what it means, Sarah. Provocative.
Oh.
So, by the way, I mentioned to this mic earlier, smooth move, waiting a day to wear the Tears for Fears t-shirt. Like, not the... That is a veteran move, as he would know.
Mike's description made me really want to go see Tears for Fears.
Well, when he started listing the songs, I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. They did all those.
They have so many songs because they have, like, 2 different vocalists, so some people don't necessarily know that they do, like, Head Over Heels and Shout, for instance. But, yeah, even outside of their hits, they have... What happened there? Even outside of their hits. What's a single... It's the important thing the Falcons have to do to beat the Patriots? They have so many... They have so many great songs outside of, like, the, top 10 singles.
I feel like that happens a lot with some of those like older groups where they were spread out over a long time, and like if they weren't really contemporaries of ours, we forget how many they had until you pile them all up at once.
So Sarah, I did what you asked, and if you want to check real quick, I did tweet that photo.
Yes.
Again, there's no real evidence in there that it is me, but that's me.
We could tell it's you in there.
You could. How so?
I'm still sort of confused about choosing that to go to a pool, but I appreciate you presenting all the evidence necessary. I would have preferred that it was zipped down so that we could see the abs, but I'll accept it.
Well, anybody can see those. But yeah, again, I just wore it. I had already been at the pool. I just wore it for one quick visit, one quick trip
to the valet.
By the way, the reason I brought that tweet, is because you know the helmet that Rick Moranis wore in Spaceballs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's up for auction, apparently.
Really?
The fold-down mask. It's up for auction on Invaluable, and the price is currently at $8,000, consisting of 20 inches
that's
around
contradictory.
by 14 inches tall.
How can you name a site Invaluable and then put a price on things?
Well, because you never know how far
Terrible
that could
business model.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if you want to buy a cooler helmet than I have, then it's on Invaluable. It's pretty funny. So... We were talking earlier about LeBron and him sort of defending himself, or him calling out his numbers. And oh no, that's already been found and it's on the screen. Good God. So we were talking about that, and Stephen A. discussing that I don't need you to tell me that you've got triple doubles, et cetera, et cetera. And he also, LeBron James, defended himself on that pass to Kyle Korver with his team in need of sort of a dagger bucket. And here he was basically telling you he'd do it all over again.
If you could have the play over again, would you still make that same pass?
If I could have the play over again, I would come off a 3-screen situation. Draymond would switch on me with 5 fouls. I would get him leaning. I would drive left. I would see KD step up. I would see Steph Curry drop on Kevin, and I would see Kyle Korver in the corner to one of the greatest three-point shooters in this league history, and give him an opportunity in the short corner. I would do the same exact thing.
Let me start here. That's not the short corner. Like, I hate when Reggie Miller says that all the time on the air, the short corner. No, that's the corner. It doesn't matter if it's the closest corner.
Basketball to LeBron?
Yes. LeBron needs to. I mean, you just do a quick Google search, and it's right there. What the short corner is: an area along the baseline, halfway between the sideline and the lane line. It's a strategic offensive area, especially used against zone defenses. Okay? It is not the corner 3. That's just the nearest corner. LeBron James is the smartest basketball player I've ever seen, and the guy does not use short corner right. Why do we have the short corner if nobody knows how to use it right except for Hubie Brown?
Oh, sigh. All right, well, that wasn't the thing that stood out to me.
I mean, it was the one thing that stood out to me. I actually did the Google search real quick and was like, wait, do I have this wrong? Because that is not the short corner.
What stood out to me was that we were harping on this pass, which, listen, especially when you have a guy like LeBron who's often been criticized for overpassing, even though that's probably the best part of his game. Immediately I thought of the John Paxson and the Steve Kerr plays where MJ found the open man and helped his team win by figuring out what the best play was. I have no problem with him passing to Korver there. I think it was Legler that was on with you guys who said the pass itself wasn't a bad choice in that moment, but the decision to not go hard at Durant in the paint first was something that he criticized. To me, what stood out was when he got the ball stripped from him, trying to hoist what would have been a game-tying 3 with 10 seconds left. Iguodala strips him, and in theory, he could have been called for a foul trying to get it back from Iguodala. No one's talking about that. And this is a nation of people and media and fans who love to find any flaw in LeBron's game. And this reminded me of, Jordan stripping Ewing and some of those huge plays that have gone down in history. And inexplicably, everyone focused only on that pass.
So, Sarah, you're basically like, wait, we're not criticizing LeBron enough. There's more.
No, I'm just saying that I'm surprised that no one criticized that. That was a huge play.
No, you're right. And I would say the one thing that I would take away from that soundbite is when he says Kevin Durant shift over. Yeah, that's where I say stop the play right there, reset it, dunk on Kevin Durant. He's your enemy. He's the guy you're playing against. He's the guy whose legacy is challenging yours all of a sudden.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.